This is so frustrating. Hello to all my sports card collector, investor, all of my collectibles friends that are out there. Thank you very much for joining me again today. We are going to be talking about new Panini products and some of the things that we are seeing in the news and just kind of some things that are, to be honest with you, are frustrating me to no end. And I want to talk about it. Call it a rant video, call it whatever you'd like, but I am just really unhappy with some of this stuff, and it's not necessarily all on Panini, it's just in general. We're going to talk about it. Before we get into it, please hit that subscribe button, the like button, the notification bell. Guys, we need all the help we can get to grow this YouTube channel. We've got a great community here. Please tell your friends. We make videos just about every day, 5, 6 videos a week, I would say, and we have a blast doing it. So thank you very much for sticking with us, and let's go ahead and dig right into it. All right, guys, we have seen here recently over the last, I don't know, maybe like 6 months or so, I've noticed more and more stories that are popping up, and we're going to break this down into different facets. The first one I want to talk about is quality control around Panini products, new Panini products. So if we're talking about new basketball and football in particular, one thing, I guess, so part of this stems from the big issue of why are people not getting more PSA 10s or higher grades, whether it be BGS or whatever it is, on new products. So whether it be new optic or new prism. And I've heard, I've heard PSA people come back and say, you know what, quality control at Panini is not great right now. I've heard this actually over and over again, to where new products coming out pack fresh just are not in great shape. They're not Gem Mint PSA 10 condition or BGS 10, 9.5 or whatever. And at first I was kind of like, maybe that's just like a grading company making excuses for not having, kind of the same amount of 10s as in years past or whatever. But then, these things start to compound after a while. For me personally, I don't open product. I don't open new product. I don't open very much at all, if any, to where I can say like, okay, I've opened up X amount of boxes, X amount of packs, and I can say for certain that this stuff comes right out of the pack in rough shape, or I get, some that are good, some that are bad, etc. But I recently watched a video done by Pac-Man, very popular YouTube channel. Pac-Man opens up packs of cards. And I was watching a great video, and I've been looking into just singles of National Treasures football and also exquisite football. And so I wanted to look at a box break. I was looking at box breaks of National Treasures 2020 football, just to kind of see what it looks like. I wanted to see, quality-wise, what do the boxes look like? And Pac-Man opens up a lot of really nice boxes, among others. So checked out his channel. The one thing that stuck out to me right off the bat with, the cards he pulled out one that had and granted, I understand it's a thicker card, so you've got corners and things that are a little bit rough, but this one was, it wasn't like a little, like a little white chip on the corner. It was like a ding, like someone hit it with a hammer. Not really a hammer, but you know what I mean? It was not, it was like, it would look like it had been in my closet, like one of my childhood cards, for 30 years or something. It was not good. It was not good. It was a really dinged corner. And the one thing, and I've heard this too, is like, okay, well, they send the cards off to the athletes to sign. And then, once it's in the athlete's hands, it could be thrown around, thrown across the room, whatever. Like, who knows what happens? But my thing is, and here's just a suggestion. And look, again, I'm not an expert on this. Maybe this is already being done and I just don't know it. But why not put those cards in a case going to the actual, to the athletes, so that the only part that they really have to kind of look at, to handle, is the signing part. In other words, have a case that takes those cards, go to the athletes, that is, maybe it's plastic or whatever, but it keeps everything in line, keeps everything in really good shape to where it gets to the athlete and it's already kind of encased, and then the athlete's just signing in their spot and they're done. There's basically like a gap there for the signature, or like a big enough gap for the signature, but it's covering up those corners, maybe, the edges, however you want to do it. But there's got to be a custom case for that. If that's what it is, if it's that, companies are sending cards off for signature, and that's how they're getting, beat up or whatever in the athlete's hands for the signatures. Just a suggestion. And again, maybe that's already happening, but just a thought that I had. We saw here recently the infamous MB Auto, the LaMelo Ball and the Miles Bridges Auto that looks very, very similar, scarily eerily similar to the other one. Now look, were they signed by each player and they just look alike? Maybe. Did one guy sign both of them? Maybe. We just don't know. But again, it's just the perception, it's the optics of it. And especially when you're buying, like, that product it's not like buying a box of Revolution or something that's on the lower end that's not as expensive. It's national treasures, man. Like, it's high-end stuff. It's $4,000 a box for NT football national treasures on the secondary market. I guess maybe it's $1,000 retail, but that's not what it costs though. It's a $4,000 box. And it's like, how on earth, can this happen? These are expensive boxes, and so that's where, again, like, quality control has got to be something. I don't know how you fix this. And again, I don't work at these companies to know even the first iota of how to try to fix it. But there's got to be a better way than this. There's got to be something that can be done, because obviously these are huge cards. These are massive cards, important cards in the hobby for collectors and hobbyists. When you're looking at RPAs of a specific player or high-end brands like this, again, it'd be one thing if it was like a Revolution Auto or something. I'm just throwing that out as like a basketball product, which I happen to really love Revolution, but it's not $4,000 a box like NT is. And to see that happen, man, is just rough. It's just hard to see that. And again, we don't know with those autos. It's all speculation. Could be perfectly above board. Like, we have no idea, but the optics of this stuff is just it's a snowball effect. Patches. Now, first off, let's start with these. If we go back to exquisite NT of years past, you had game-worn jerseys, essentially. A lot of them. If you go back to the Upper Deck, exquisite stuff, it's game-worn. It's, going back to it. And now we're kind of reduced to either player-worn, which is like photo shoot, or it's maybe it was worn by a player, or maybe it wasn't. And it's like, man, but then what's the point? If it's not game-worn or authenticated as player, like the player wore it, then what is the point of that? Is it like, don't even offer it. I think it's kind of pointless. And look, I'm one collector in this thing. Maybe there's others that are like, hey man, you're dumb. I like those anyway. That's perfectly fine. But for me, if it's not, honestly, I want game worn, especially for the prices of national treasures and exquisite. These are not inexpensive sets. Like, it's got to be top-notch stuff. And then the other part that I don't understand is people swapping out patches. Here's the thing that I really, it boggles my mind. If you're someone that's taking out a patch, a game-worn patch, and then putting in your own patch, first off, what's the point of doing that? You're going to take the authentic patch, and what are you going to do with it? Show your friends, like, this is the authentic patch. You have no way of proving that that's authentic. Is it just for you to know that you've got it? You've got the authentic one, and then you put a fake one into the card. I'm just confused as the point of switching out patches. And again, maybe I'm just naive, and I don't know how you would use a game. Like, if you take that game worn patch out of the card, what are you going to do with it to where it has any value? Or is it just for you to stick on your game worn patch wall that you have? It makes no sense to me. So again, that's something that is extremely irritating. I saw examples of this on Twitter. I think it was Wax Museum podcast that had put something up about an Anthony Davis NT it was switched out, and it was like, God, why? It's just like it's like a piece of, for collectors, it's like, it's a piece of artwork. It's a piece of history. There's an importance to those patches. There's importance to these signatures and all this stuff. And for people to just basically like vandalize it, essentially, it's just mind blowing to me how that could happen and for what actual purpose it serves. It makes no sense, and it's insane. So again, if you're someone that's doing that, please stop. And then if you're Panini, like, if it's not at least player worn in a photo shoot, I just think it's kind of useless, especially for the cost of the boxes for this new product. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. All right, lastly, we're going to touch on actually a very good video done by sports card investor Jeff talking about select product. And there's a bigger picture to this. And there's a lot of people that have been saying junk wax era 2. I actually made a video about a year ago that was like, we are not in a junk wax era part 2, like 2.0. Because a year ago, I didn't feel like we were. This was a little over a year ago. I made this video last summer. And now I'm not so sure. When I saw this video on the Select product and their breakdown of Select, I believe it was football, and all the different parallels, you've got eel skin patches, whatever the hell they're going to come out with next. And it's like, what the heck? We don't need 100 plus parallels in a set. And it gives this false notion, you're going to see breakers breaking this stuff. It's going to be like monster hit because you have what? Every single card is some sort of parallel, some sort of colored parallel, some sort of animal skinned something crazy. And it's like, it's almost like a participation trophy for no reason. You're just giving out like a bunch of participation trophies. They're not hits and they're going to be totally worthless. And then even if you number them, you have a zillion parallels that are numbered. So it's like, okay, we've got 130 parallels and maybe they're numbered to, 10 to 49 to 99. It completely wipes out the whole purpose of parallel, these scarce parallels. There's no scarcity whatsoever. I don't care if they're numbered or not. Honestly, like with this, if this is kind of the way that it's going to go moving forward, I will not buy any cards, numbered cards. I don't care who the player is. I don't care if it's the next Michael Jordan, the next LeBron James, and these are our options. I'm not buying it because it's not scarce. There's nothing scarce about that select set and the rookies that are in it and everything else that's attached to it. And I don't think it hurts Select going back because Select going back, has still got some scarcity when it was just hobby and it wasn't including retail. But man, if this is the way that it's going to go moving forward, I used to kind of think people saying like Junk Wax Era 2, and I think they were premature to it. I do think that, and a lot of them said the same things like, hey, you've got all these parallels and stuff. And I was like, that is true. You do have it, but this is next level parallels. This is like way too many parallels, way too many colors, way too many colors in the rainbow, way too many animal skin, whatever parallels. It's bad news. If this is going to be kind of what they do moving forward with Prism, with Revolution, or with any of these other sets that they've got, Optic, etc., it's bad news for the hobby. I'm just, for me personally, I'm just going to focus on years past. The stuff that I know has value, has scarcity, has rarity moving forward. Because this new stuff, if this is what it's going to be like, it's going to be tough sledding. It's going to be rough. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts. I've been yammering on here for 13 minutes. Let me know what you think about this. And again, I'm just kind of I'm over kind of this stuff. I keep hearing this news. I keep seeing things. And of course, we're in the era of social media where it's like the second this stuff hits, there is a lot of transparency. Thank you to social media to where this stuff just immediately pops up. And it's like, but it's mind-blowing, some of this stuff. And so let me know your thoughts in the comments about it. Are you buying new product moving forward? What do you think? Or do you think this is just an overreaction, which is totally fine if you think that I'm overreacting. I'm here to hear kind of all the thoughts, all the angles. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.